Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a very interesting pair of shows for you today. That's right. I'm going to start out with Michigan versus Texas, and is Michigan better off losing this game? We're going to talk about also that Sharon Moore doesn't have a contract, believe it or not. We're going to get into all of that. But later on today, I'm going to do a show about a couple of games that I think could technically wind up being blowouts. And that's the NC State, Tennessee game and Kentucky versus South Carolina. And I wouldn't be shocked if Texas blows out Michigan either.
How dare you!
So this will be a controversial day. I was supposed to go to work today, but I took the day off so I don't have to be out there cleaning off those roadsides.
Drink it up, big boss! All right, drink it up, gambler.
Yeah, I got a break. For some of you, that might be a good thing for you, but for some of you, you're going to be like, dang, I wish you were still at work. But anyway, let's get into this Michigan saga. It just keeps going and going. Of course, their head coach doesn't have a contract. We're going to talk about that, the NCAA, the notice of allegations, all that stuff. And we're going to also decide whether or not, does Michigan, would they be better to lose this game and badly? If you saw Michigan's game against Fresno State, it looks like they won it pretty handily. They absolutely did not. As a matter of fact, with 6 minutes left in this game, it was a 6-point game. And Michigan finally scored, went ahead by 13. Fresno State was about to score, and they threw a pick six from about the 10-yard line, so it looks like they won easily. It was very tight. Michigan fans were nervous. And they're having trouble at quarterback, as you can see, 15 for 25 for 118 yards with a 4-yard average, 4.7. QBR 33. That was their Davis Warren. They're missing J.J. McCarthy, something awful. They don't have Blake Corum. A lot of their offensive line has left. You know, they're in the NFL. Michigan had a bunch of players go to the NFL. And especially given the circumstances, they weren't going to come back, you know, the ones that had the decision, because they knew they were going to get hammered by the NCAA, which is on its way. I'll just go ahead and tell you. The one thing Michigan did do, and they still got a very good defense, they didn't allow them to run at all. They had 36 yards, and then when you put in the sacks, only 9 yards total. So their defense saved their bacon in that game. That's not going to happen against Texas. They are in for it. Quinn Ewers is a terrific quarterback. As you can see against Colorado State, they beat them into the ground. It was like 50-0. Quinn had 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 INT. Arch Manning was 5 for 6. They threw for 355 yards. Very nice. Texas, of course, didn't let Colorado State do anything. Their defense just wore them out. They were able to run a little bit, but that was about it. An extremely one-sided game. So Texas is coming into this with a ton of confidence. They're playing at Michigan. That's the one positive that the Wolverines have got going for them. But the reality is, I'm almost wondering if Michigan's not better off long-term to lose some games this year, which they're going to do anyway. They're not that good. And that'll get their fan base kind of back to reality. Right now, see, they haven't lost in like a year and a half. They don't know what a loss feels like. And they think they're going to keep maybe another national title. You're not a natty. It's not going to happen. Plus, you don't have Connor anymore. No, y'all didn't think that was funny. But let's get into the fact that their head coach, he doesn't even have a contract, and there's a reason for that, in my opinion. It says their Michigan athletic director confirmed that they're still in ongoing negotiations for the contract because of the NCAA investigation. And not only himself, but also some of his assistants don't have fully executed contracts. What they have is a memorandum of understanding that he signed in January, back in January. Folks, it's September. Ward Manuel, who is their athletic director, he said the two sides are still ironing out a deal. I'll tell you what it is. They want language in there that if there are all kinds of problems with NCAA, he gets suspended, show cause, all that they're not stuck with a long-term contract with him. And he's wanting a guaranteed amount of money with his contract. That's the sticking point, almost certainly. You don't have to be a genius to figure that out. And his representative is like, you don't need to sign this because they're setting you up. They're going to wait for the NCAA to smash like Hulk.
I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by...
Which they're going to do, and then they're going to say, oh, well, we'll offer up the head coach and some of the assistants because they can't offer up Jim Harbaugh. He took off. Brave Sir Harbaugh ran off to San Diego.
Brave Sir Robin ran away.
No!
Bravely ran away, away.
I didn't!
And Connor's off in Detroit, Mumford, being the defensive coordinator or something for a high school. So they can't do anything to him. So they're kind of between a rock and a hard place. Manuel said, we're dealing with NCAA matters. We're dealing with the situation with our apparel provider, which that, yeah, okay. Bringing on legends, they said blah, blah, blah. These things take time, he said. I mean, they don't just happen overnight, and the things that have popped up, but they're working on it. 9 months is not overnight, Ward. He said where these memorandums and such come into effect is when a school wants to part ways with the coach and the contract is not fully executed. And that's where the school can get out with about half the amount of money that they would normally pay if they had a fully executed contract, and it makes it a lot harder for the coach to sue them. So that's where we're at with Michigan right now. And I'm going to get back into this. Would it be better off if they lost? I've been through the NCAA investigation with the show causes and having to fire coaches and all that. We went through that with Jeremy Pruitt at Tennessee, where he had paid $60,000 over 2 years to players, pay for play basically. And they hammered us but good. Now the difference was, unlike Michigan, we fully cooperated. We fired all the coaches that were involved. We amassed all the evidence, put it into one big pile, and said, there you go, NCAA. You don't have to do a thing. We've done it for you.
Got the evidence! Put the evidence in the car! But put the evidence in the car!
And, of course, we were acclaimed for exemplary cooperation and all that kind of stuff. They still hit us for 25 scholarships, an $8 million fine, 2 years probation, all kinds of restrictions, and a 2-year cloud that was over us with the NCAA investigation. Tons of negative recruiting. Now, you're fortunate in this one thing. This isn't going on forever. You're not going to have this cloud over your head. NCAA has actually gotten off their butt and moved pretty quickly on this, which actually works in your favor. Now, whether or not they're going to vacate wins and all that kind of stuff, we don't know. I'm sure that's going to be an ugly negotiation. But you would be a lot better off if, let's say y'all lose 3 or 4 ball games this year, which is highly likely. Your schedule's not that easy. And, you know, if you don't have a good quarterback situation, it's going to get tricky for you. After you've lost some games, see, we weren't a very good team, so we didn't care for the coaches to be gone, or we didn't care for all that kind of stuff. Didn't matter. Right now, Sharon Moore's never lost. So it's not an easy situation. I think Moore was a good hire. It kept continuity. The players really like him. He seems to be a very good offensive coordinator. We'll certainly see. But this is going to get messy as this notice of allegations, it's eventually going to get leaked. The fact that it hasn't gotten leaked, that Michigan hadn't put it out there, tells me it must be pretty rough. And I would think NCAA is looking for blood. What they probably want as much as anything are postseason bans. And that would be easy to do if you've already lost 3 or 4 ball games. You can go ahead and go, okay, we'll give you a 1-year postseason ban, so we won't go to this bowl game, the toilet bowl or whatever. And that would give them a trophy that they can see. We're the NCAA. We give them a postseason ban. That matters to them. The thing you got to realize about the NCAA, it's super political, and they are highly sensitive.
Sensitive.
Absolutely. They care about what people write about them and say. So if they can go around with a trophy, they'd love that. And that's something that wouldn't be that big a deal for Michigan to give up as long as they're not in playoff contention. But right now they still are because they haven't lost a ball game. But Texas might alleviate that problem for you, Michigan, because you have not played a Texas team like this. They're good. And I hate saying that because the Texas fans are already excited about themselves.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Really?
Yeah, they're pretty pumped up about the Longhorns. And don't do horns down. It upsets them greatly, Michigan. Don't you dare do that to them. They'll get upset and they'll ask for a penalty. But anyway, that's what it appears to me. It might be the best thing for you. If you got blown out, that would take your fan base way down as far as being a little bit unrealistic, and then lose a couple more games, then work with the NCAA and get past this. This is not the 1980s. You're not going to get the death penalty or anything horrible. Those days are over. You're going to get 20, 25, 30 scholarship reduction. Your coaches, some of them will get show cause and all that, which I don't know how big a deal that is, honestly. As long as they're still working for you, it doesn't really matter. They might get a 2 or 3 game suspension. I don't think you'll get a full season. That was really that was for Jim Harbaugh, which he already got, which is meaningless at this point.
Never lie,
never cheat, never steal.
Shut up!
Anyway, this is a game that I'm going to be watching. It's at noon, I believe. Yeah, right here it is, 12 o'clock, big game. Be on Fox. Texas is favored by 10 points. According to the FPI projection, they think you're going to win by that with a 74% probability to win the game. So, you know, they're giving you a shot. You got a 26% chance of winning, which is actually not too bad because Texas they're way up there. They're number 4 in the country right now. And Michigan's number 9, but I think that number's elevated from last year. I don't think they're number 9. Although, again, I do think you have a very good defense. So they can probably keep you in the game. You may not get blown out, but it could happen. They've got some great wide receivers there at Texas. And I don't think you're going to be able to score on them. So anyway, just wanted to talk about the Michigan situation, the contract that doesn't exist for the head coach right now. I think eventually they'll get something worked out, but I just don't – Michigan, they're starting to talk like, you know, you got to follow the rules. You know, they've quit dismissing the NCAA. So this game's important. It's going to matter a lot as far as how your fan base reacts to NCAA. So if you like this content, be sure to hit the like button. Lets me know to continue to cover all these big sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 hit that little button. It won't cost you a dime, and it'll help you get my videos. Sometimes they're hard to find on YouTube. And right over here is the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. Oh, I almost did a horns down. That's a penalty. Anyway, we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay, and I will be doing another show today.